What's up, party people? Dana Harris here with Young Gurus Math Tutoring, and this is just a test. I decided that I want to start doing live classes, and so please bear with me on some of the. What's up, party people? Technical difficulties. Dana Harris here with Young Gurus Math Tutoring, and this is just a test. I decided that I want to start doing live classes, and so please bear with me. Let's get out of there. And let me check on this other device. Thank you for anybody joining. Also, I want you all to please bear with me. Something new that I'm going to be trying out, where I will be doing some live math classes. In business, I'm realizing right now, teaching school education is in a state of emergency. And it's nothing new, but I feel like COVID has actually made that state of emergency even more extreme. And so you all know, if you've been following me for a while, you know that my motto is I've got the solution to your math problems. And so I am working to provide more solutions. So let me check for a second on this other device. I think I'm going to have to mute this sound for a second, or one of them, so I can see. Yes, it is live on Zoom. So we are live and direct. All right, cool. So turn down this music a little bit. What this is going to be is we are going to talk about some circles today, right? And I have my son. I have a son who's in the 11th grade, and I was working with him yesterday on some stuff, and it was about circles. And working with other different clients and things, what I'm realizing is that a lot of students are now being given work that is solely on the computer. And unfortunately, a lot of these computer problems that are being generated, the teachers may or may not be going through and seeing what type of problems they are. I'm not going to blame the teachers. I'm not going to blame the students. I'm here to just provide some solutions. So I want to do a simple class. This is probably going to have a part 2 because I don't want to stay on here too long. And because I've been working with the tech to get this kind of right, I'm going to most likely have a part 2 to this. And it's been a while. As you all can see, I don't have a beard anymore. Well, I have a beard, but the long beard is gone. Started it over for a little bit, but I am glad to be back. And we are going to finish off this year of 2021 very, very strong. Let me say this. Thank you all right now. If you are watching this and you have not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to my channel. Share this with anyone you may know that has a student that's in high school. And please feel free to check out one of the over 200 videos that I already have on here. I want to keep providing the solution to your math problem. So let's get right into it. We're talking about the equations of circles. So since I'm on Zoom, let me share my screen. And you're going to see me click between 2 different devices at times because I've got to make sure that this thing is showing right. So let's see. What I have, just a minute. Let me, all right. All right, boom. So we've got our screen showing. So let's talk about the equations of circles, right? And with the equations of circles, we have standard form of an equation. So you have one form of it, which is x squared plus y squared equals r squared. Now, this is the equation of a circle when the center is at the origin. For those of you at this level, the origin is at the ordered pair 0, 0. So if we had a circle whose center is the origin 0, 0, the equation would look like this. But what are the chances of us having that? A whole lot? Probably slim. But when we have a circle that has been shifted, whether it be vertically or horizontally, it looks like this. So it's going to be x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Now, with this, and y'all bear with me on my writing, I'm a stickler for that. With this, what this is saying is, I know somebody's thinking right now, well, what are all these variables? Because a lot of times students have equations that they're given and they are not explained what these variables mean, okay? And so x and y are simply x and y, like on the coordinate plane, right? So if we take the ordered pair HK, then that would be the center of the circle. As a matter of fact, let me put center first, all right? So the center of the circle is at the ordered pair HK, all right? And then R stands for the radius. Okay, so we're going to do a few examples of how to apply this. So once again, this H right here is actually the X coordinate of the center of this circle. This K right here is the Y coordinate of the center of the circle. Why they use H and K, we won't get into all that. To be honest, I can't even remember right offhand, but if you're working these and you need to understand this, you need to know that. That's important information. And then once again, R represents the radius of the circle, okay? So let's get into the different types of problems you may see from this, right? So there's several different types of problems you may see from this. And I'm going to take this and erase it, and I'm going to rewrite that. But it's very, very important that you know the center is HK, the radius is R. So we have, let's put it over here, go blue. So the equation is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And let me go ahead and make this disclaimer. When I teach, I don't want to get into the debate of whether I like Common Core or not, and things like that. But there are some things with this quote unquote new math that are great. But there are some things with this new math that can be confusing for students if it's not explained well. Honestly, one of the things that I like about new math is that I've learned a lot of things because I'm a math enthusiast and I've been doing this for several years. But we'll talk about that a little later in more lives. You will be seeing a lot more lives from me. And please, once again, like, share, and subscribe to this lesson. You know somebody out there somewhere in America, somewhere on the other side of the world that could use this information. So please share. So in this case, notice there's no parentheses. There's just x squared plus y squared equals 81. Well, remember, any number, the additive identity tells us that any number plus 0 equals that number. So if I have x plus 0, it's essentially, when you see it like this, it's essentially as if I have x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 81, right? So x minus 0 is just x, which is why it looks like this. And then y minus 0 is just y, so which is why it looks like that. Now, notice this. Here we can say that the center is simply 0, 0, right? And by the way, I'm sorry. In these examples right here, we want to identify the center and the radius of this circle. I forgot to put that up here. So let me, as a matter of fact, let me type that. Let's see, identify the center and the radius for of a circle with the given equation, okay? And this is standard form of a circle. So going back to that, here now we have the radius, right? So the radius, got to change that. The radius, so notice on the equation, this says r squared. So if r squared equals 81, now remember, to get rid of that square, we have to take the square root. So basically, the radius let's just say, for instance, I take the square root of here and the square root of here, that gives me r equals 9. Okay, so here with this equation, x squared plus y squared equals 81, I have a center at the origin 0, 0, and I have a radius of 9. Okay, and that's that. Now that's a simpler example. Let's get into some that are a little more tedious and things like that, because I know you're not just going to be given something that simple most of the time if you're doing some homework or taking a test or something like that. So let's say we have example 2, and we have, let's say, x minus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared, and that equals 49. And by the way, I'm doing this live, so I gotta get used to doing live classes and things like that. But so if you see me checking my phone might ring, my Apple Watch anything might happen. But let's get it. So in this case, notice we have these values right here, right? So this is H, this is K, right? So that means our center is 2, 3. Notice there's a minus here and there's a minus there. So it's just like this original equation in standard form. Our radius, actually, let's do it like this. Let's say the radius squared, because based upon the formula, r squared is equal to 49. So that means r is equal to the square root of 49. And since 49 is a perfect square number, the square root of 49 is 7. So r equals 7. So that tells me if I have this equation, x minus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 49, then the center of this circle is at the ordered pair 2, 3. And it has a radius of 7. Now we can actually draw a circle from that. I won't get into the drawing just yet. We'll do that in a separate video. Let's do a couple of more examples because I want you all to see. I try to show as many examples as I can without giving a long, drawn out lesson. And I don't want these lessons to be extremely long because I know people, attention spans can be short. So let's look at example 3. And anybody out there that's had my class, they know Mr. Harris is going to tell a story while I'm teaching. These lessons are probably going to be as close to my classroom as possible. So shout out to anybody that's a former student watching this. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Here we go. Now, notice this one looks a little different. So here we have a plus. So when I'm looking at the center, notice, boom. But notice the difference here is that first one says x plus 5. Well, think about it. If I have x minus -5, then remember, whenever we subtract a negative, it's just like adding. So that means that the center, the x coordinate, or h, is now -5. Okay, but this one is still y minus 10. So that is just 10. So be mindful whenever you see a plus sign inside that parentheses with either the x or the y, that means that that h or that k is going to be a negative, okay? Because when you subtract the negative, it's just like adding. Here, the radius squared is equal to 9. So that means the radius is equal to the square root of 9, which now the radius is 3. Or as I like to say, treat. All right. Let's do one more example. And then I'm going to do one other thing on here, and I will be out of your way. Remember, please, if you're tuning in, I don't know if anybody's watching this because it's my first live class, I think, ever on YouTube. So if you're watching the replay, shout out to my replay squad. Please, if you're watching the replay, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And we're going to get these numbers up. We're going to get this math message around the world. If you've been following me, you know I have a hashtag, make math cool again. And that's what my mission is. This is example 4. All right, example 4. So if I have my center at H and K, remember, boom, that represents H, that represents K. Notice they're both plus. So X plus 7 and Y plus 8. So that means that now instead of this being 7, this is -7 for my H and -8 for my K. Okay, be very, very mindful of that. And then so my radius squared based upon this right here is equal to 64. So that means the radius is equal to the square root of 64. Well, how'd you get that, Mr. Harris? Well, the opposite of taking a number to the second power is taking the square root. All right, and 64 is a perfect square number. So the radius is 8. So this equation has a center of -7, 8. I'm sorry, -7, -8, and a radius of 8. So that's how you would identify the center and the radius of a circle if you're given the equation in standard form. Now, excuse me. The next thing I want to show you all is sometimes the equation is not given in standard form, right? So what if I had a equation that looks like this? If I had an equation that said x squared plus y squared plus 24x plus 10y plus 160 equals 0. Now, somebody's out there thinking like, what in the what? Well, what happens is this one, it looks like this. This is a different form, but we can make it, we can put it in standard form, but we're going to have to use a process. We're going to have to complete the square. If you aren't familiar with completing the square, I'm going to show you how to do it on here, but you can also check out my video on completing the square of a quadratic equation, okay? So once again, completing the square, there is a video on my YouTube channel that I did a couple years ago. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get these like terms together. So let's see, I got X's there. I got X's there. Notice I circled the sign as well, okay? And then I have, let's do this. Let's take purple, okay? And then I have Y there and a Y there. Why am I boxing in the sign that's to the left of the term? Because the signs go with the term to its right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to rearrange these. I'm going to say x squared plus 24x plus y squared plus 10y plus 160 equals 0. I just rearranged the terms and put the terms with the x's together and the terms with the y's together. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 160 and I'm going to put it on the right side of the equal sign. So technically I would subtract 160 from both sides, right? So and I can write that, you know, we can write minus 160 here. And what it would look like is x squared plus 24x plus y squared plus 10y plus, nope, I took that off, equals -160. All right, now we have to complete the square. Okay, so I have x squared plus 24x plus, and I always do mine like this. I put it inside a square. So I need to take half of this. So I need to take 24 divided by 2 and square it. And then I'm going to say plus the y squared plus 10y plus, and I'm going to put a box. There's a reason I'm putting that box. That box is not so cute. So I'm going to say 10 divided by 2, and then I'm going to square that. And that equals to -160. And technically, I want to put plus whatever numbers I have in these boxes, right? So I'm just going to show those as placeholders. Well, what I end up with is x squared plus 24x plus 24 divided by 2 is 12. 12 times 12 is 144. All right, so remember that number, y squared plus 10y plus 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 squared is 25, right? So those two numbers is actually what goes in the boxes on the right. Okay, so equals -160 plus 144 plus 25. Well, Mr. Harris, why are you adding that? Because if I added those two numbers on the left side of the equal sign, in order to keep this equation balanced, I have to do the same thing to the right side of the equal sign. So that's very, very important. All right. So now that I do that, now this is actually what we call a perfect square trinomial. So x squared plus 24x plus 144 is a perfect square trinomial. And then y squared plus 10y plus 25 is a perfect square trinomial. And we factor that like this. Simply x, look at this box right here, x plus 12. That's another reason why I put it in the box, because 24 divided by 2 is 12. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And that's going to help you factor this. Y plus 5 squared equals, now I got to add up all this. I think, let me see, 144 plus 25 is 169. So 169, negative 160 plus 169 is just 9. So now we have standard form of this equation. Now, if I wanted to identify the center and the radius here, I can do that now. So the center here is, once again, I got my H, I got my K, but we have a plus and a plus, so they're both negative. So negative 12, negative 5 is my center, and then the radius squared equals 9, so the radius equals the square root of 9, so the radius of this one equals tree. All right. So I went through that long process. You may have to stop this and rewind it. I'll have these live. They'll be posted on the YouTube channel. You may have to stop this and rewind it. And that's a long process just to come out and get this. But it's just the type of problem that you will see when you're doing standardized testing, when you're doing homework assignments, when you're doing problems on the computer, because so much is now assignments that are on the computer. But I wanted you to see how to do this. Let's do one more example that is similar, and then we'll wrap up this lesson. And I'll come back to you all with part 2. Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I like music in the background when I'm teaching, but I know sometimes YouTube be flagging you if you play other people's music and stuff. So I'm going to try to figure that out, or I'm going to have to get somebody to do me some beats or something. I got to play something because I don't want to be flagged for copyright or whatever. So now let's say we have this one. Let's say we have x squared plus y squared plus 14x minus 12y plus 4 equals 0. All right. And we still want to identify the center and the radius of a circle with the given equation, right? So now, same thing I did before. I'm going to take my x terms, put them together. I'm going to take my y terms, put them together, and I'm just doing that. Okay, so now I'm going to move this around. X squared plus 14x plus y squared minus 12y plus 4 equals 0. All right, I need to move this plus 4 to the right side. That constant needs to go on the right-hand side. So I simply just subtract it from both sides. Minus 4, minus 4. Boom, those two cancel. So now I have x squared plus 14x plus y squared minus 12y equals negative 4. Now I need to complete the square. Let's get rid of this brown and go back to red. So I'm going to say x squared plus 14x plus, I always take that constant of x, I'm going to say 14 divided by 2, and I take that to the second power, plus y squared minus 12y plus, I'm going to take this term, negative 12 over 2 squared, and that's equal to negative 4, and then plus whatever's in those squares both times, right? So here we have x squared plus 14x plus 14 divided by 2 is 7. 7 squared is 49. y squared minus 12y. Negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. Negative 6 squared is 36. So I have negative 4 plus 49 plus 36. All right, now I've got a factor. Remember, the x terms right here, that's going to give me a perfect square trinomial. The y terms right here are going to give me a perfect square trinomial. So I have x plus, remember, this is 7 right here, and this is negative 6. So x plus 7 squared plus y minus 6, because that's a negative 6 right there, squared equals, let's see, 49 plus 36 is 85. Negative 4 plus 85 is 81. Here we have our standard form. Okay, now we can find the center. All right, the center in this case, remember h and k. So I've got h here, I've got k here, and then I got r squared, right? So h is negative 7, because remember, x minus negative 7. And then k is just positive 6, so that's my center. R squared is equal to 81, so that means r is equal to the square root of 81, so the radius is 9. All right, so I have my center at negative 7, 6, and my radius at 9. I hope that this helps. I hope this video was enlightening for some people. I just want to come up here and provide some things to give you all some supplemental information to help with what you're doing in the classroom and things like that. I get a kick out of doing this teaching. My position has changed at the job. And so I still need to teach some people. I still need to continue putting out content, because I know there's a lot of people that are being taught now in a different way. And so I want to make sure that the people out there, the students of all grade levels, have some content, have some teaching that they can refer to help them. Because one of the biggest complaints that I've heard lately is my teacher's not teaching us, or everything's online. There are people using platforms, all these different platforms, Edgenuity, Khan Academy, things like that. But I want to continue to provide some instruction that, as I like to say, break it down to the bone gristle. Okay, so please, thank you for joining in. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Share this video with someone. Teachers, if you're watching this, please feel free to shoot me a message or reach out to me if you'd like to see a specific class. But I will be establishing a regular pattern of doing these lessons online, these lives, and I want to just continue to help people out. Remember, I'm Dana Harris, Young Gurus Math Tutoring, and as always, I got the solution to your math problems. Deuces.